Hi, welcome to week 3. Just a few thoughts about last week. Um, I'd like to comment on how wonderful it was to see so much interaction between you and between you on the posts. I think that really was really useful to be able to do that. And it really helped to sort of broaden the understanding. One thing which really impressed me was quite a long discussion when it went on about the role that CAS budgets play and the various opinions and information which was shared there. So, okay, let's look back on this week. This week was really about how do we know what CAS is. And we started off the week by looking at the relationship between the learner profile qualities, the ATLs, approaches to teaching and learning, and the CAS learning outcomes. And as several of you noted, the learning outcomes really come from the learner profile in the first place. So it's no surprise that the three relate to each other very closely. And I would say CAS presents some great opportunities for developing some of the learning skills, particularly about carrying out research into a particular interest that a student has, about being able to communicate effectively with other people, including other age groups and adults in particular. That can be a problem for some kids. About looking at how do we manage our time. That's one of the big issues that kids face when they first start their DP. How do I manage to fit all this in together? And also about their their ability to carry out a piece of inquiry, because that's what they do when they're setting up a new proposal or project. And we also play an important role in giving the kids feedback about their reflections and their ideas. And that's very much based on the CAS. And another thing is that they often in CAS have to deal with global issues and to develop their sense of international mindedness. Then we moved on to looking at really about what is CAS and how do we decide what it is. And there's a few golden rules here. First of all, being very clear about the definitions of the three strands. Secondly, ensuring that whatever it is that it isn't the proposal is not actually going to be assessed formally for the IB. A third thing is that that we looked at the activity, particularly if it's a service activity, is not actually being paid or for a member of a family. And the quiz made you really just think about what is CAS and what is not. It also highlighted a point that's it's really important to realise as a coordinator. First of all, how important it is to actually know what each of the students is like and what presents a challenge for them. And the second thing is, of course, the context in which you're actually carrying out CAS. It can be very difficult in some places for kids to actually carry out activity. And Mina highlighted this when talking about girls being able to do various forms of activity in Saudi Arabia. And it's because of these 2 points that it's about individual knowledge and about cultural context that it's very difficult to actually write hard and fast rules for CAS. A couple of things which are worth pointing out and areas which seem to cause the greatest amount of confusion and concern about CAS are things which are related to religious activities. The IB itself adopts a humanist approach to things and does not encourage CAS activities which involve preaching a particular religion or faith. And the second one is about political activities. There are some places where being politically active is okay and part of the culture of the country. And in other countries, it would just not be acceptable and actually put the students at risk. And the one thing we want to avoid is actually putting the students at risk. So you need to be aware of those two areas. I think they seem to be the ones which have caused the most consternation with CAS coordinators. Okay, moving on. This week we look at one of the most important aspects of learning from CAS, and that's reflection. And reflection is never a simple process. It's a complex one. It's one that requires a bit of thought and preparation. First of all, it's important to get the kids in the right mood to actually reflect. They need some peace and calm to do that. And, I think showing the kids as part of CAS how to develop mindfulness activities can be really useful to help them get focused on what they're actually doing. And then secondly, to look at modelling a variety of different reflection techniques. So as well as getting to write reflections, have one-on-one discussions, group discussions, peer assessment of each other's reflections, presentations by the kids about CAS. That can be either public or private. It could be a blog. It could be a website they create. All of those things are possible ways of them reflecting on CAS. You might also look at the possibility of using role plays to actually get them to discuss and think more about the way they're doing CAS. And I think one of the important things, if it's possible to do in your school, is actually establish a link between the theory of knowledge and CAS, because the ways of knowing in the theory of knowledge help also kids to think and reflect in a different way. If they have a better understanding of how their emotions affect the way they go about doing things, or how their language affects it, and so on, using some of the ways of knowing. And of course, one of the big things in CAS is actually about ethics and about understanding why we've actually chosen to do things and have we gone about doing this in the right way. So that's something which can really enrich CAS reflection. Lastly, in this third week, they're going to look at CAS projects. And I guess one of the biggest challenges here is about how we go about managing CAS projects. I should warn you that there's going to be some more group work in this week, and I'll post the groups in the announcement section, and I'll also make sure there's a thread for each group. Okay, so look, I'm really looking forward to reading more of your posts, and I've enjoyed seeing the interaction there are between the various people within the group. I think that's been very positive and useful. All right, so I'm looking forward to your posts. Take care. Bye.